After 25 years, my father's doubts were revealed. His friends discovered my face on Wall Street. Jake stood in front of the factory, the morning sun casting long shadows on the pavement. He inhaled the familiar scent of oil and metal, a scent that clung to dreams and despair. For years, he pushed the limits of a 9-to-5 existence, working tirelessly to make ends meet for his family in this small Midwestern town, where everyone knew everyone and dreams felt foreign. Every early clock-in was soaked with hope. Beneath the fatigued exterior, he sketched his visions during break time, vibrant ideas for a startup that could lift his community. But the weight of his father's voice rose up like a storm cloud. Opportunities aren't meant for guys like you, Jake. Tension nestled between them like a coiled snake, ready to strike when least expected. The whole town shared his father's skepticism. Their sideways glances and barely muted snickers were as familiar to him as the rusted machinery. Who does he think he is? They whisper, following him around, wrapping their doubts around him like an unwanted blanket. The tight-knit warmth of their town often felt more like a chokehold. But when Jake received that coveted call for an internship on Wall Street, the air crackled with tension. His heart raced. This was his shot to rewrite his story. Don't get your hopes up, son, his father warned, shades of love tinged with disbelief. It's all for those who have never known a true struggle. Those words stung, and Jake hesitated, but determination surged like a river set free. On the first day, he walked through polished glass doors into a world ablaze with ambition. There, every footstep hummed with possibility. Jake felt like he had finally stepped onto a path that matched his dreams. Time blurred as he dove into work, his heart swelling as he learned every piece of knowledge felt like a brick laid in the foundation of a brighter future. Returning home on weekends, he poured his energy into mentoring troubled teens, sharing the stories that once felt heavy on his heart. Hope blossomed in the faces of those young kids. They began to envision futures outside the confines of their town. It was beautiful, fulfilling, an echo of every whisper of doubt he'd ever heard. Then came the day a magazine, glossy and bright, with his face plastered prominently across the cover. Midwestern Dreamer Conquers Wall Street. He read aloud in disbelief. Joy bubbled up, but this triumph quickly turned to dread when he imagined his father's reaction. Flipping through the pages, his father's hand trembled. The unmistakable look of disbelief twisted into irritation as he confronted Jake. This can't be real. You weren't meant for this. Words tumbled out like fragments of unhealed wounds, exposing deep-seated fears and insecurities. They stood there, straddling a chasm of hurt and love, both afraid to step too close to the edge. Had his father truly thought he would never succeed? The silence weighed heavy in the air, a gut-wrenching pause filled with unspoken words and longing for connection. This moment could break or mend them. Would it be the catalyst they needed to pave a road toward understanding? The world outside demanded clarity and resolution, leaving them grappling with their past and future. How could they transform doubt into acceptance? Jake's heart ached for truth, for validation. Would they find the courage to bridge the generational divide? Jake's heart raced as the silence stretched between them, feeling like a taut wire. He searched his father's eyes, but he found only a storm of fury and fear. Dad, this isn't a joke. He tried, his voice breaking against the weight of his emotions. I worked hard for this. I'm not just some kid from this town anymore. His father shook his head, lips tightening in a grim line. You think this changes who you are? Just because you got lucky doesn't mean you can forget where you come from. Lucky? Jake felt a hot fury rising in his chest. I busted my ass for this. I've put my heart into every late night and early morning. The words spilled out, raw and unfiltered. He was tired of standing in his father's shadow, tired of the 25 years of doubt that clung to him like a shroud. With a heavy sigh, his father stepped back, the wall he'd erected between them still firmly in place. You think you can just walk into that world and be accepted? Nothing in Wall Street is about hard work, Jake. It's about connections. You can't just what? Jake interrupted, the heat of passion igniting in his veins. You can't just dismiss me because of good old-fashioned dedication. I'm not asking for a pass. I'm showing you what it means to break out of this cycle. His father ran a hand through his graying hair, suddenly looking older, more vulnerable. You don't understand. I only want to protect you. I don't want to see you fail, then support me. Jake's voice grew softer, edged with desperation. I'm not that scared kid anymore. I know what I want. We can't keep doing this, the fighting, the doubt. I need you to believe in me. The room fell quiet again, the hum of their lives outside casting a soundless backdrop, a reminder of the world they lived in and the expectations they bore. Jake took a step closer, vulnerability cracking through his tough exterior. I've seen what belief can do, Dad. I'm mentoring kids, shaping their futures, showing them there's more than this. You taught me that, and I want you to believe me when I say I'm making a change for both of us. His father's expression softened just a touch, but it was enough to let Jake know there was hope. They both stood on shifting ground, heartbeats racing as they stared into the darkness of their shared past and the bright light of possibility beyond. And just as Jake sensed a glimmer of understanding forming, his mother entered the room, eyebrows knitted with concern. What's going on? She asked, sensing the charged atmosphere. Jake felt the tiny window of connection slip away, and for a fleeting moment, he feared it might vanish completely. Nothing, Mom. Just a discussion, Jake replied, but the tremor in his voice betrayed him. Don't lie to your mother, Jake. His father's tone was steely, and he turned to face her, the emotions still raw between them. Jake launched into an explanation, hoping to convey every ounce of passion he had. Yet something in the room stank of unresolvable tension. As he spoke, he caught the tension in his mother's face. They were a family built on sacrifice and struggle, but also on love, and it felt like love was gasping for air. Would they each find the strength to breathe life into the relationship they desperately needed? Just then, a phone chimed from across the room, breaking the fragile moment. Jake paused, glancing at the screen. It was a message from a mentor in New York, an invitation to a pivotal meeting the next day that could change everything. The weight of choice loomed over him. Would he take it, facing his father with unapologetic ambition, or let the ghosts of doubt pull him back? Would this meeting mark a turning point, or would it solidify the emotional battle between father and son? Suddenly, the stakes felt higher than ever. Jake felt his pulse still pounding as the moment faded, replaced by the soft glow of his phone screen. The message loomed large in his mind, an invitation that seemed to breathe fire into his hopes. Yet, it burned alongside the heavy weight of doubt festering in his father's voice, simmering and oppressive. His mother stepped closer, her face softening with concern. Jake? She prompted gently, breaking his reverie. What is it? He swallowed hard, gauging the weight of the moment. It's a meeting, Mom, with my mentor in New York. It could lead to something big. She exchanged a glance with his father, a silent conversation flashing between them, one that Jake felt all too well. It was the usual dance of worry. Could he voice his ambition now, knowing how hard it had been for his father to accept these dreams? Jake, I just want you to think this through, his father interjected, the tension tightening around them once more. You're so eager to run before you can walk. What if you fall? Jake's heart dropped into the pit of his stomach. Everything inside him screamed for recognition, validation, acceptance of who he had become. But what if I fly? He challenged, his voice rising, a blend of excitement and fear laced within. What if this is my chance to prove myself, to prove you wrong? Silence hung in the air, heavy and thick, wrapping around them like a cold blanket. He hoped to see a flicker of pride, a glimmer of understanding from his father, but all he saw were the familiar shadows of disappointment and fear. Jake, his father began, words methodical and deliberate, you're still my son. And as your father, I've seen too many dreams crushed. I don't want to see that happen to you. But you're the one trying to crush it. Jake exclaimed, the frustration rolling off him in waves. I'm not some mistake you have to protect. I'm a man who has worked for this. I'm asking you to let me prove I can succeed on my own. You're asking for a lot, his father replied, the hardness creeping back into his tone. Jumping into Wall Street, it changes people. Not everyone makes it out. Then let me be the one who does. Jake wanted to shout, but something in his heart lodged the words in his throat. Deep inside, he feared that one day he might look back and see his father was right. I can't bear to watch, his father whispered, brow furrowed, the anguish etched on his face. What if you fail? Then I'll find a way to make it work. Jake's voice cracked under the weight of his emotions. I won't let this be my end. I refuse to fail. His mother reached out, laying a hand on his arm, her touch grounding him amid the chaos. Sweetheart, if this means that much to you, then maybe you should go. Just promise us you'll take care of yourself. Jake's heart swelled with an unexpected surge of gratitude, hope flickering in his chest. The battle between his parents' fears and his own dreams raged on, but he could feel an opening. If he could convince them, perhaps he could convince himself too. With a determined breath, he nodded. I will take care of this. I can do it, and I'll call you right after. But as his father continued to shake his head, doubt simmering in his eyes, Jake wondered if he'd ever truly be free of that shadow looming behind him. And when he finally tapped the message to accept the meeting, a rush of possibility surged through him but was quickly replaced by the question that clawed at his gut. Was this step forward truly the beginning of his own journey? Or just another risk waiting to unravel it all? The days blurred together, filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Jake found himself questioning everything. He was familiar with the fear creeping in after taking a leap, but this felt different. His phone buzzed more often now, reminders of his impending trip to New York, yet each buzz seemed to echo with his father's warning. What if he failed? Early on the morning of his flight, the house was still cloaked in sleep. The sun peeked through the curtains, painting golden shadows across the dining room. Jake sat at the table with a cup of coffee, listening to the faint sound of his parents preparing for the day. Each shuffling step seemed heavy with unspoken thoughts. His heart raced as he replayed their last conversation in his head. Jake, are you sure about this? His mother's voice broke the silence that pressed against him. She appeared in the doorway, her eyes searching his face for reassurance. Yeah, Mom. I have to go. This is what I've wanted. He tried to sound confident, but doubt clawed at his throat. Just remember, no matter what happens, we love you, she said, her voice softening. She was trying to hold onto a thread of hope for him, even if she herself didn't fully believe it. I know, he whispered back, wishing he could shield her from both the fear and hope swirling in his heart. After a final embrace, he slipped out the door into the unknown, his breaths quickening with each step down the driveway. The car ride to the airport felt like an eternity. With every passing mile, Jake contemplated how life was about to change. He glanced out the window at the world flying by, a kaleidoscope of moments that he might soon leave behind. Arriving at the airport, Jake felt the energy surge around him. The bustle of people lived and breathed ambition as they rushed from gate to gate. He couldn't help but feel the weight of their stories, each one a lesson in courage and fear just like his own. He checked his watch. A mix of excitement and anxiety was now palpable in his chest. Once on board, he settled into his seat. The plane took off, and as they climbed higher into the sky, Jake stared out the window at the shrinking landscape below, an ocean of possibilities and dreams. He thought about his father's intense gaze and his mother's fragile hope. Would he make them proud? When they finally touched down in New York, Jake was enveloped by the city's pulse. The sound of honking cars, the chatter of strangers, and the bright lights ignited something deep within him. He could almost hear the city whispering encouragement, urging him to forge ahead. Navigating through the crowds, he felt both small and invincible. This place was teeming with opportunity, and yet doubt lingered like a shadow. What would his mentor see in him? As the hour approached for his meeting, Jake stood outside the building, heart racing, nerves frayed. He took a deep breath, clutching the folder that held his carefully prepared portfolio. With every note and graph he'd pored over, he had hoped it would tell his story. But what if it didn't? What if he stumbled over his words? The what-ifs multiplied, suffocating him. Just as he was about to step inside, a familiar face appeared in the crowd, causing Jake's world to tilt. There, amidst the sea of strangers, was someone he hadn't seen in years. A friend from college, someone who once shared his dreams. Their eyes locked, disbelief radiating from both sides. "Jake? Is that you?" the friend shouted, charging forward. "Yeah, it's me," Jake managed, surprise morphing into an unexpected warmth. He hadn't anticipated this encounter, especially not now. But as the excitement surged, so did the question that hung heavily in the air: how would his friend react to all that he had become? Would they cheer on his dreams or echo the doubts of his father? With that thought lingering like a distant storm, Jake felt the ground beneath him shift. Yet again his journey was about to take an unforeseen turn. What awaited him beyond that door? Jake's heart raced as he shouted back, but the sound of his voice felt distant, overshadowed by memories flooding back. He hadn't seen Alex since graduation, their friendship fading as life pushed them in different directions. "Wow, I can't believe it. You actually made it to New York." Alex grinned, a genuine smile lighting up his face. The warmth in the reunion felt like a sunbeam breaking through the clouds overhead. "Yeah, it's a bit surreal," Jake admitted, feeling a mix of relief and nostalgia. They stood in the corner of the bustling street, the chaos of the city swirling around them, yet time seemed to pause for just a moment. Alex looked different, more polished, confident, with an energy that buzzed like the city itself. Jake couldn't help but compare himself to the friend he once knew. "Are you here for a project or something big?" Alex asked, his curiosity palpable. Jake hesitated. "I'm meeting with a mentor today, hoping to start something in finance." He swallowed hard against the doubt that still gnawed at him. "Dude, that's awesome. You've always had an eye for numbers. Remember all those late nights working on projects?" Alex chuckled, and Jake felt a splash of encouragement washing over him. "Yeah, those were something," Jake replied, recalling the nights spent brainstorming, grappling with the future, fueled by caffeine and ambition. They were dreams floating just out of reach. Alex's voice shifted from jubilance to sincerity. "I was worried about you when you went silent after college. I didn't know how it was going for you." He paused, concern etched on his face. "I guess we all need a little reassurance sometimes." Feeling vulnerable, Jake nodded, his insecurities surfacing. "Yeah, it's been rough. A lot of self-doubt." He glanced down, the weight of his father's concerns settling heavy on his heart. "But you're here now," Alex said, placing a reassuring hand on Jake's shoulder. "You took the leap. That's more than most people do." Jake looked up, meeting Alex's gaze. There was sincerity there, an understanding that pierced through his fears. In an instant, their past friendship felt alive again, a reminder that he wasn't alone in this journey. "I have to go inside for the meeting," Jake said, feeling the pressure of time. But a flicker of hope sparked within him. "Would you want to grab dinner after? I could use someone to talk to." "Absolutely. Let us celebrate you stepping into this new chapter." Buoyed by the promise of support, Jake took a deep breath. As he turned towards the entrance of the building, a determined smile formed. His doubts hadn't disappeared but transformed into fuel. He understood now that stepping through that door wasn't just about his dreams but about reconnecting with who he was and the people that mattered. Jake pushed the door open, the energy inside electrifying. People hustled around him, conversations buzzing like bees. His mentor came into view, a dignified figure that commanded attention. But before he approached, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the glass door, an unfamiliar face with traces of uncertainty, yet also hints of resilience. With Alex's words echoing in his mind, Jake squared his shoulders. He stepped forward, ready to give his best. "Jake, there you are," his mentor called out, and Jake felt another surge of anticipation. But as he moved through the busy lobby, a nagging thought lingered. What if the reality didn't match the expectations? What awaited him in that meeting, and would he rise to the challenge? As he prepared to greet his mentor, the weight of his past and the hope for his future hung in the air, ready to collide. The moment of truth was just a heartbeat away. What revelations awaited him in that room, and would they lead him closer to the path he truly desired? Jake entered the sleek conference room, the air thick with ambition and quiet determination. Sleek glass walls framed a view of the sprawling city below, but the skyline barely registered as the pounding in his chest overtook him. He could already see his mentor, a man whose very presence seemed to radiate confidence. "Jake, it's so good to finally meet you in person," his mentor exclaimed, extending a hand like a lighthouse amid his swirling thoughts. Jake grasped it firmly, willing himself to focus. "Thanks for having me," he replied, trying to suppress the tremor in his voice. As they settled into plush chairs around a polished table, Jake's mentor wasted no time diving into the heart of the meeting. He spoke of opportunities and challenges in the finance world, painting a picture that was both exhilarating and intimidating. Each word seemed to echo Jake's self-doubt, like a taunting whisper in the back of his mind. "Tell me about your vision, Jake. What do you want to achieve?" Jake's mind went blank. The polished pitches he'd rehearsed felt trivial against the weight of expectation. He fumbled with his notes, fingers shaking slightly. He struggled to recall the energy he had felt just minutes ago with Alex. Well, I want to make a difference," he stammered, surprised by the unexpected sincerity in his own voice. "I want to help people navigate their finances, not just numbers on a spreadsheet, but help them with their dreams, you know?" His mentor leaned forward, curiosity lighting up his gaze. "That's a strong goal. Financial literacy is crucial. But are you prepared for the challenges? It won't be easy." Jake swallowed hard, feeling the knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. "I know, but I think that's what drives me. I've seen how a lack of financial knowledge can hold people back." His voice softened, but conviction built behind it. "Good. That's the kind of passion we need in this industry." The mentor nodded, a glimmer of approval sparking in his eyes. But when Jake glanced at the skyline again, uncertainty flared within him. Would passion and vision be enough? Memories of his father's doubts washed over him like a chilling wave. Would he truly be able to step up to the heights this city promised? The conversation progressed, but Jake's focus drifted as he wrestled with his thoughts. He suddenly pictured Alex waiting in a quaint restaurant, excited to celebrate his first step forward. That image felt simple but compelling. "Jake?" The mentor's voice broke through his reverie. "Are you with me?" "Yeah? Sorry," Jake replied, shaking away the fog. "I'm here." As they wrapped up, his mentor fixed him with an earnest gaze. "I see potential in you. Just remember, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. Embrace the uncertainty, it's where you'll find clarity." Jake nodded, the words settling like a bomb on his frayed nerves. Maybe he wasn't as far from clarity as he had feared. After the meeting, he emerged into the bustling street again, swallowing the mixed emotions that clashed within him. Ahead, the neon lights demanded attention, and the rush of pedestrian traffic swirled like the adrenaline in his veins. But what excited him most was the promise of that dinner with Alex, a moment of connection in a world that often felt isolating. The streets hummed with energy as he reached out to text Alex. "Just finished." Excited to share everything, he smiled, savoring the thrill of the unknown. But as his phone buzzed with a reply, the word stunned leaped off the screen. "What do you mean you're stepping into finance? You one-t believe who saw your face on Wall Street today?" Jake's heart skipped a beat. What did Alex mean? Who had seen him? And why did it feel like the ground beneath him shifted again, reconfiguring everything he thought he'd known? Jake's pulse quickened. He stared at the screen, the weight of Alex's words settling heavily on him. Who saw him? A knot of anxiety twisted inside as he fought against the urge to reply immediately. Instead, he took a breath, trying to calm the storm brewing within. He paced down the sidewalk, the crowd around him blurring into a sea of faces. Each one could be someone who knew his father, someone who might pass on a comment or two. What if they saw him as just another naive kid trying to climb to impossible heights? After what felt like an eternity, he typed back, "What do you mean? Who saw me?" The response came almost instantly. "You're not going to believe it, Mr. Parsons. Remember him? The finance guy with the huge firm? He saw you on his walk to work and mentioned it in passing. He was impressed." Mr. Parsons? Jake barely remembered him. But he'd always been one of the bigger names, someone his father would have pointed to as the gold standard of success. Anxiety morphed into confusion, and he wondered why someone like that would even look at him, let alone take note. Why does that matter? Jake sent back, trying to mask the anticipation lurking beneath his words. Are you kidding? Yes, a big deal. He might know people who can help you. Just think about the connections you could make. Jake leaned against a lamppost, processing bits of information, piecing things together. He envisioned Mr. Parsons' sharp suit, the way he commanded attention in a room. But alongside that vision stood his father, a man whose skepticism and doubts echoed through Jake's mind like a familiar song. Hadn't Mr. Parsons always seemed unreachable? A sudden wave of hesitance washed over him. Was he truly ready to pursue this? To walk the halls of Wall Street alongside the giants of finance? What would it mean to make a name for himself in a world he had only begun to understand? Jake, you still there? Alex's text pulled him from his spiral of thoughts. Yeah, I'm here. He typed back, his fingers lingering over the keys. The uncertainty screamed again. The path forward felt both astounding and terrifying. What if he fell short of the expectations? Stepping forward, he felt the city pulse around him, a living, breathing entity that oddly mirrored his internal struggle. He hunched his shoulders against the chill and shook his head. I just didn't expect any of this. It's a lot. Of course it is. But think about it. This is your shot. No one gets a free ride in life, but this could be your moment. Don't let it slip away. The encouragement was a spark, igniting something deep inside. He needed to reclaim that earlier determination, the vision that had once burned so fiercely. As he walked, Jake's thoughts danced between fear and exhilaration. Alex was right. This could be a turning point. He pulled up a map app to locate the restaurant where they planned to meet. Suddenly, the possibilities bloomed in his mind, filling him with a new wave of fiery hope. Just then, he noticed a billboard lighting up the avenue, a financial seminar hosted by Mr. Parsons. Meet the investors. Open doors to your future. The words pulsed at him like a heartbeat, both daunting and full of promise. Was he going to take this chance? Could he confront the doubts that plagued him, the whispers of failure that echoed from his father's shadow? He glanced down at his phone, fingers hovering once more over the screen, as he considered his next message to Alex. Should he tell him about the seminar? Might it be the opportunity he had been hoping for? The buzzing in his pocket interrupted his thoughts again. It was Alex. Don't just sit there. You need to see this opportunity as one you can own. Don't let your dad's fears define you. Jake's breath caught, and he felt a spark of rebellion ignite within. He was done holding back. He texted back with a sense of newfound clarity. Let us meet and talk about this. I want to take action. But as he pressed send, a new thought crept in, a realization that filled him with both excitement and dread. What if stepping into the world of finance meant confronting everything he'd been trying to escape? The moment of truth was approaching and would soon require all of him. Did he have what it took to embrace this challenge? Was he ready to take that leap? He took a deep breath, uncertain yet determined. The city, once overwhelming, now felt like the stage of his story, and he was discovering his lines one moment at a time. Jake arrived at the restaurant with his heart in his throat. The clanging of silverware and buzz of conversation enveloped him as he stepped inside. Bright lights and laughter filled the air, yet he felt a weight resting on his shoulders. What if Alex was right? What if this was his moment, but he wasn't ready? He spotted Alex at a small table in the corner, waving him over. His friend looked enthusiastic, his eyes sparkling with excitement. There you are. I've been waiting. Sorry, Jake replied, sliding into the seat, still trying to shake off the unease gathering in his chest. You won't believe the billboard I saw. It's for a seminar by Mr. Parsons, dude. You're going. Alex interrupted, leaning in closer. This is what you've been training for. You've got to seize this opportunity. Jake rubbed his temples, overwhelmed. But what if I'm not ready? What if I embarrass myself? Mr. Parsons, he's a titan. What do I know compared to him? Listen, Alex said, his voice low but firm. You know more than you think. That passion, that determination, they stand out. You need to let them see who you really are. Don't let fear hold you back. It's not just about impressing them. It's about owning your space. As Alex spoke, a flicker of realization sparked inside Jake. He thought of his father, his critical gaze, the moments of doubt that had shaped him. His father had carved a path heavy with expectations. But what if Jake could create his own? He sat up straighter, focusing on Alex's encouraging words. Okay, you're right, but I don't even know what to expect at this seminar. Will they see me as just another kid in a suit? Then make sure you aren't. Alex leaned back, a knowing smile creeping across his face. You have a vision, Jake. Share it. Show them your fire. Jake took a deep breath, feeling a shift inside him, a change he desperately needed. He was tired of being in the shadows, tired of letting his father's doubts keep him chained. Fine. I think I'll do it, he said, his voice stronger now. I'll register for the seminar. I want to just stand by and watch. That's the spirit. Alex grinned, raising his glass of water in a toast. To new beginnings, and to a future that's yours to create. Jake picked up his own glass, feeling a surge of burgeoning hope. To new beginnings, he echoed, a smile blooming on his face. But as the words left his mouth, the shadow of his father's doubts loomed large again. Doubts that maybe this was just a fantasy, a fleeting moment of courage that would fizzle out. Wait, what if I actually talk to Mr. Parsons? He blurted out. What if he doesn't take me seriously? No more what ifs, Alex said sharply, a gleam in his eyes. This is your chance, Jake. When you talk to Mr. Parsons, you need to show him you're more than just your father's son. You're Jake, a force of nature. Own it. Jake's heart raced as hope intertwined with anxiety. Could he really find his footing? Would he have the strength to break free from his father's legacy and write his own? Fingers trembling, he pulled out his phone and searched for the seminar's registration. As he scrolled, an image of Mr. Parsons flashed on screen, a powerful face etched with authority. The thought of approaching such greatness both thrilled and terrified him. Jake's thumb hovered over the sign-up button. The pivotal moment was here, and with it, a choice that could alter everything. What would he choose? Would he fearfully retreat or embrace the journey ahead? With the city alive outside, humming with potential, Jake felt the weight of every decision pressing down on him. The moment of truth was closer than ever. Jake's heart raced as he stared at the bright screen, the sign-up button glimmering like a beacon of hope. What if this was it? What if taking this leap could rewrite his story? He felt the warmth of Alex's support beside him, urging him on. He took a deep breath and pressed the button. Suddenly, a rush of adrenaline surged through him. For the first time, he felt like he was claiming his life. The registration confirmation popped up, and he read the words twice, just to make sure it was real. He was officially signed up for Mr. Parsons' seminar. Did you do it? Alex asked, eyes alight with excitement. Jake nodded, the smile creeping back onto his face. Yeah, I did. I can't believe it. No backing down now, Alex said, his laughter bright against the noise of the restaurant. But as the celebratory mood settled in, nagging doubts crept back. But what if I mess up? Jake said softly, his voice hanging between them. What if I embarrass myself in front of him? You can't think like that, man. No one expects you to be perfect just to be you, Alex said, his tone encouraging. At the end of the day, the seminar is about growth. What's the worst that could happen? Jake surprised himself with his response. I guess I could learn something. Exactly. Focus on what you can gain, not what you're afraid of losing. Alex leaned back, confidence radiating from him. You got this. Jake looked down, tracing the rim of his glass with a finger. He was tired of being the scared kid wanting his father's approval. This was his shot. No more living in someone else's shadow. As they talked, visions of the seminar filled his mind. The possibilities of meeting other ambitious, like-minded people sparked a flicker of excitement deep within him. Conversations buzzing, ideas bouncing back and forth, all driven by ambition. But doubt still hung like a curtain in the back of his mind. He thought of his father, the weight of his expectations suffocating. Would he ever truly be proud of Jake? Or would he always view him through a lens of disappointment? "What's on your mind?" Alex asked, pulling him back. I can't shake the feeling that I'll never measure up. My dad's expectations are like this lingering fog. They never really go away. Your father's path doesn't have to be yours, Jake? Alex replied, conviction lacing every word. Break that mold. You're not his reflection. You're your own person. This is about your path now. Jake took a moment to process those words. He was tired of measuring himself against his father's barometer of success. What if he defined success on his own terms? With renewed determination, he set his glass down. You're right. I can't keep carrying his doubts. I'm going to use this seminar to push through. I'm going to meet Mr. Parsons and I'm going to make my voice heard. Alex grinned, and their glasses met in another toast. To new paths and making your own mark. Just then, the restaurant doors swung open, a chill breeze sweeping in. The laughter and conversations dimmed slightly as a tall figure entered. Jake glanced up, his breath catching in his throat. It was a familiar face, the face of his father, stepping through the threshold with an air of authority. Jake, his father bellowed, his voice cutting through the chaos. We need to talk. Now. Panic flared within Jake. What was he doing here? Did he know about the seminar? His heart raced again. Would this be another moment where his father's doubts could crush him before he even stepped forward? Or was this the confrontation that could finally set him free? The weight of his decision loomed, and he realized he had to choose. Stand and face the man who haunted him, or bolt and preserve the fragile courage he had just built. The man he had been running from was standing right in front of him. What would he do next? Jake's heart thundered in his chest. The bustling restaurant faded as he locked eyes with his father. A whirlwind of emotions whipping around him: fear, defiance, the urge to plead, and ultimately, to stand firm. Dad, what are you doing here? Jake tried to steady his voice, but it trembled slightly, belying the impact of the confrontation. This isn't the right place for you, his father said, his voice a rough whisper holding back urgency. You shouldn't be in a world full of wolves. It's not safe, Jake. You need to come back home and find a real job. Jake's blood boiled. A real job? Dad, you know this is important to me. I'm taking a step towards my future. Your future? You mean the future you dream up in your head? Those dreams don't pay the bills, son. His father's voice rose slightly, and suddenly, all around them, the laughter faded to a low murmur, eyes drifting in their direction. At that moment, Jake felt a wave of pity for his father. The man who stood before him looked hurt, scared, his face lined with the weight of expectations he'd never been able to lift. But they do, Dad. If you believe in them, Jake replied, softer but firm, grounding himself in the truth of his journey. Believe? His father scoffed, but there was a quaver in his voice, an opening Jake couldn't ignore. Belief doesn't pay rent. Reality does. Reality? Jake stepped closer, the intensity thickening the air between them. Reality is knowing I have a chance to break free. Can't you see how far I've come? This isn't just a whim, this is my life. His father clenched his fists, the hurt mixing with anger. But behind those eyes was a flicker of confusion. Maybe even a hint of pride stuck like a thorn in his heart. You think just because you get a shot at Wall Street, you're better than us? Better than your roots? No, not better, just trying to redefine what success means for me. Jake's heart raced as he continued. You taught me to work hard, to value dreams. And now I want to show that love and belief can transform lives, starting with my own. The silence stretched, thick and sticky. Thoughts hung in the air like fireflies, waiting to be sparked. Those around them were watching intently, the weight of their gazes sending a reminder of the stakes. And what if you fail, huh? What if you stand up in that seminar and fall flat? His father challenged, crossing his arms tightly, frustration coiling around him like a serpent. But what if I fly? Jake countered, desperation creeping into his voice, longing for his father to understand. A moment of silence wrapped around them before Jake added, You taught me to chase after dreams. Dad, I came to New York to adjust my reality, and I want you to be proud of me. His father's expression cracked just a bit, vulnerability shining amidst the storm of discontent. Jake, think about it. All those years working hard, believing in yourself, you were right there with me. Now is my chance to embrace that. A murmur of understanding drifted into the space between them, but silence held the upper hand. Do you really think you can do this? Be that person? His father finally asked, the edge of skepticism softening, just slightly. Yes, Jake affirmed, taking another step forward, desperation morphing into resolve. I'm ready to show you that belief can change lives. Yours included. If you can let go of the past and have faith in who I've become, maybe we can reshape our story together. His father hesitated, the tension thickening like molasses. Hope flickered at the edges of Jake's heart. Could this be a turning point for both of them? I've seen you fight, his father replied, and Jake saw a glimmer of recognition there. But I just don't want to see you hurt. I can't handle watching you suffer. And I can't bear to live in fear anymore. Jake's voice dropped, going to a raw place underneath. I need your support, Dad. We can redefine success together. Just give me a chance. For a long moment, their gazes locked. The world around them faded into obscurity, a loud hum, a buzzing restaurant, and all the what-ifs filling their minds. Slowly, the ice cracked. Maybe I've been too hard on you, his father finally admitted, the words tentative yet powerful. Maybe it's time I trusted you more. Just promise me you'll be careful. Jake felt the weight lift from his heart, overcoming him with overwhelming relief. I will, Dad. Promise. They stood close now, no longer the shouting adversaries but two souls standing on the brink of understanding. It was the moment Jake had craved, a fragile truce born of fear, hope, and the desire to create something new. All right, his father nodded, a newfound resolve forming. Let us take this step together. With shaky arms, they embraced, clinging to each other as whispers of excitement filled the air around them. Cheers erupted from the patrons nearby, spontaneous applause echoing in the restaurant, as the tension lifted. Jake's heart swelled with understanding that they had crossed the bridge. It was a small victory, but it was a leap towards a shared journey. Emboldened by the courage of that fleeting moment, Jake stepped back, a radiant smile on his face. Okay, now I'm ready for my seminar, he declared, his tone lively. Go conquer it, Tiger. His father whispered with tears glimmering in his eyes, the heavy blanket of doubt now lifting. Leaving the restaurant, Jake felt like he was walking on air. His narrative was changing, weaving hope into the fabric of their lives. He could visualize his upcoming meeting, the path ahead brightening with opportunity. And with Alex waiting, ready to embark on the journey with him, Jake knew the sky was the limit. Their lives had taken a new turn, and together, they would embrace the transformation that awaited them both. This was not just a new beginning. This was an invitation to transformation, for his family, his future, and everything he dreamed of finally coming true. Are you ready to pursue your story? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.